Hello class, today I'm going to be showing you how to draw a feather. Your assignment for this week, week 2, is to explore line quality as it pertains to nature and landscape. So your first project is going to be to draw four small projects, small objects like feathers or a seashell, stem of flowers, large hosta leaf, something like that, that you can draw in detail that has a lot of line quality to it. So you can explore line quality. When we talk about line quality, we're talking about thin lines, thick lines, the weight line, the darkness or lightness, scribble, horizontal lines, vertical lines, diagonal lines, zigzags, like all these parts of it that you might need to do to replicate whatever object it is that you're drawing. So today I'm going to take a look at my feather, and I'm going to start with the stem, which I think is kind of an important part. It's almost like the spine on a human, and I'm going to start by kind of creating that contour. It's kind of a long swooping motion, and then if you see, it gets kind of thinner and thinner towards the top. So I'm going to come back in. All right, and then this is the 3H pencil from your toolkit, and I'm using that because I'm starting out as light as possible, and I'm just going to create as light of a line as I can, contour line, just so I have the direction, like the place that it's going. Looks like I got a little crazy there. Don't be afraid to use your eraser if you need to. So I'm just kind of mapping out where this is going. There's a line in it. And you can see where places where this feather has breaks and it's a little messy, kind of split. And that's because we found it outside. That usually will do that. All right, now down here we have a bunch of small wispy lines, and I'm just going to kind of start those a little bit. And again, I'm just starting with my lightest pencil, which is the hardest pencil. All right, now I'm going to come back over to this side and I'm going to map out the other side of it. And again, this is so great because you're using those skills that you learned last week when you were doing the contour drawings, because I do need to map this out a little bit. I'm going to try to keep these edges pretty free. Oh, looks like it got out a little bit wide. I need to go back in. It's because I'm kind of sitting at an angle. Alright, let's try that again. Maybe I'll start down here. Come at it from a different angle. Now the lines of the feather are pretty close together. And so starting with the lightest one first is great, the lightest pencil, because that's going to help me. Be able to get the lightest lines and the darkest lines. There's a couple stray ones that come out farther. All right, this looks like it's just out a little far, so we're just going to take that back in. Now, I'm going to start with that lightest pencil, and I'm just going to start making some lines going out. Just kind of up to that contour line, and I'm going to probably come back in and soften that up as I get beyond it. That's just for me to know how to follow that line. Oh, something I just noticed is that the line more curves up. As I'm sitting at an angle doing this drawing, I wasn't seeing it quite that way. There we go. That's a little bit better. So that line on the top curves up, but then it changes. And that's something you're going to have to pay attention to as well, is where that line starts to change. And that is right about here. It comes out a little bit, but not as much as it was. And here it's pretty much straight over that way, and that's why you have that break between. I'm trying to start right from the spine, but I'm going to be working on top of this some more. So remember, with this line quality, we are not shading in terms of, like, you know, doing the traditional kind of a shading. We're shading by having lines close together. All right. Now we're going to come back out here. And these lines on this side are more diagonal, not so swooping. Right here, there's kind of a break. So I'm going to leave that as a break in my drawing as well. Now, you can draw any object you want that you can find, like in a garden or in a park or at your house. Maybe you have a collection of shells or something like that. And that's going to help you as well. This here are exercises leading up to our larger drawing, which is going to involve landscape. Okay, so this is a good start, but it's not there yet. I'm going to come in with a darker pencil. This one is a 5B. That's the softest one we have. Looking at my feather, it's dark along that spine. So I sharpened the pencil pretty well, and I'm going to follow that line. And to get a nice crisp line, I'm pressing fairly hard. Whenever I don't use enough pressure, the line gets real wobbly, which is fine in some instances, but not in all. Then I can come back out here, and starting at that center, I can work on some stronger lines. I'd like this to be just a little bit sharper. Those lines are pretty thin, so you may need to resharpen even as you're working. Really looking at those lines is important because sometimes we don't always see the nature of it. And to get a really dark center, I just have to work the lines close together, like I am now, and repeat them. And that's going to really show the lines of the feather. I want to keep that really sharp though. And one thing we don't talk about that much, at least I don't remember it being talked about that much even as a student, is the importance of the eraser and what that can do for you. So as I work on this one side, I'm going to add in some of those darker lines. But remember, they're real wispy at the core, the spine, and I'm just going to use my eraser to soften that up a lot. And that looks so much better. How hard I push will dictate just how dark that line is as well. Alright, so this is going to take a while. I don't want the video to be so long that you can't upload it. So I am just going to work just a little bit longer, and then I'll show that finished feather on your PowerPoint for this project. But I think I might have another one that's closer to finished here. Yes. So here's another one that was earlier. And there's one as well. And you can see that it's just a matter of repeating those lines over and over. And sometimes you even get a white line from doing so much of it. And that white line of the paper, when it goes back down to the paper, is still a drawn line. Anyway, find some interesting objects, draw 4 of them. They could all be on one sheet or it could be on multiple sheets, I don't really care. But those will be your 4 sketches for this week. Then there will be a larger landscape drawing also on your PowerPoint for this week. Thank you, class.